Visit parthikachana.com for technology resources and stock analysis. 50 Design Patterns Beginner Level Interview Questions with Answers. 1. What is a design pattern? Answer. A design pattern is a reusable solution to a common design problem in software development. It provides a proven template for solving recurring design issues. 2. Why are design patterns important? Answer. Design patterns offer several benefits, including improved code readability. They promote consistent and predictable code structures, making it easier to understand and maintain. Enhanced maintainability. By following established patterns, code becomes more modular and easier to modify. Increased reusability. Design patterns provide reusable solutions that can be applied across different projects. Reduced development time. They help developers avoid common pitfalls and solve problems more efficiently. 3. Explain the singleton pattern. Answer. The singleton pattern ensures that a class has only one instance and provides a global point of access to it. This is useful when you need to control the creation and usage of a single object. 4. When would you use the factory pattern? Answer. The factory pattern is used to create objects without specifying their exact class. It decouples the creation of objects from their usage, making the code more flexible and easier to extend. 5. What is the builder pattern used for? Answer. The builder pattern is used to construct complex objects step by step. It separates the construction of a complex object from its representation, allowing you to create different variations of the object. 6. Describe the prototype pattern. Answer. The prototype pattern creates new objects by copying an existing object. This is useful when you need to create many similar objects without having to recreate them from scratch. 7. How does the abstract factory pattern differ from the factory pattern? Answer. The abstract factory pattern creates families of related objects, while the factory pattern creates single objects. Abstract factory is used when you need to create a group of related objects that work together. 8. What is the adapter pattern? Answer. The adapter pattern converts the interface of one class into an interface expected by clients. This allows you to use existing classes that have incompatible interfaces. 9. When would you use the bridge pattern? Answer. The bridge pattern decouples an abstraction from its implementation. This makes it easier to change the implementation without affecting the abstraction. 10. Explain the composite pattern. Answer. The composite pattern treats groups of objects uniformly. This allows you to represent hierarchical structures, such as trees or menus, in a consistent way. 11. What is the decorator pattern used for? Answer. The decorator pattern adds responsibilities to objects dynamically. This allows you to extend the functionality of objects without modifying their existing code. 12. How does the facade pattern simplify a complex system? Answer. The facade pattern provides a unified interface to a set of interfaces in a subsystem. This simplifies the interaction with complex systems. 13. Describe the flyweight pattern. Answer. The flyweight pattern shares common objects to reduce memory usage. This is useful when you have many objects that share the same state. 14. What is the proxy pattern? Answer. The proxy pattern provides a surrogate or placeholder for another object. This can be used to control access to the object, delay creation of the object, or add additional functionality. 15. Explain the chain of responsibility pattern. Answer. The chain of responsibility pattern passes a request along a chain of handlers until one handles it. This allows you to decouple the sender of a request from its receiver. 16. When would you use the command pattern? Answer. The command pattern encapsulates a request as an object, allowing you to parameterize clients with different requests. This makes it easier to undo or redo actions. 17. What is the interpreter pattern? Answer. The interpreter pattern defines a grammar for a language and provides an interpreter to evaluate sentences in the language. This is useful for building domain-specific languages. 18. Describe the iterator pattern. Answer. The iterator pattern provides a way to access the elements of an aggregate object sequentially without exposing its internal representation. This allows you to iterate over different data structures in a consistent way. 19. How does the mediator pattern decouple objects? Answer. The mediator pattern defines an object that encapsulates how a set of objects interact. This reduces the coupling between objects and makes the system easier to maintain. 20. What is the memento pattern used for? Answer. The memento pattern captures and restores the internal state of an object. This is useful for implementing undo/redo functionality or saving the state of an object for later use. 21. Explain the observer pattern. Answer. The observer pattern defines a one-to-many dependency between objects so that when one object changes state, all its dependents are notified and updated automatically. This is useful for implementing event-driven systems. 22. What is the state pattern? Answer. The state pattern allows an object to alter its behavior when its internal state changes. This makes it easier to manage complex state-dependent behavior. 23. Describe the strategy pattern. Answer. The strategy pattern defines a family of algorithms, encapsulates each one, and makes them interchangeable. This allows you to change the algorithm used at runtime. 24. How does the template method pattern define the skeleton of an algorithm? Answer. The template method pattern defines the skeleton of an algorithm in a superclass, while subclasses provide the concrete implementations of specific steps. This allows you to provide a framework for algorithms while allowing subclasses to customize specific parts. 25. You're designing a system to manage orders in an e-commerce application. Which design patterns might be useful? Answer. Factory pattern. To create different order types, e.g., standard, express, international. Composite pattern. To represent order items and their relationships, e.g., products, accessories. Observer pattern. To notify customers about order status changes. 26. You need to create a logging system that can be easily extended with new log levels. Which design pattern would be suitable? Answer. Strategy pattern. To encapsulate different logging strategies, e.g., debug, info, warning, error, and make them interchangeable. 27. How would you implement undo/redo functionality in a text editor using design patterns? Answer. Command pattern. To represent each undoable action as a command object. Memento pattern. To store the editor's state at different points. 28. You're designing a system that needs to interact with different types of databases. Which design pattern could be used to abstract away the database-specific details? Answer. Abstract factory pattern. To create families of database-specific objects, e.g., connection objects, query objects. 29. How could you use design patterns to create a flexible caching system? Answer. Proxy pattern. To provide a cache layer that intercepts requests and returns cached responses if available. Strategy pattern. To implement different caching algorithms. 30. What is the difference between a creational, structural, and behavioral pattern? Answer. See the previous response for detailed explanations of each category. 31. Can you name any anti-patterns in design patterns? Answer. See the previous response for common anti-patterns. 32. How do you choose the right design pattern for a given problem? Answer. See the previous response for a detailed explanation. 33. Can you explain the concept of composition over inheritance? Answer. Composition over inheritance suggests using composition, creating objects as members of other objects, instead of inheritance whenever possible. This promotes flexibility and reduces tight coupling between classes. 34. What are some common mistakes made when using design patterns? Answer. See the previous response for common mistakes. 35. What is the difference between the singleton and factory patterns? Answer. The singleton pattern ensures that a class has only one instance, while the factory pattern creates objects without specifying their exact class. 36. Can you explain the concept of loose coupling? Answer. Loose coupling refers to the degree to which components of a system are dependent on each other. Loosely coupled systems are more flexible and easier to maintain. 37. What are some common design patterns used in web development? Answer. Some common design patterns used in web development include MVC, Model View Controller, separates the application into 3 components: model, data, view, presentation, and controller, input handling. Observer, used for implementing event-driven systems, such as notifying users of updates. Singleton, used to create a single instance of a class, such as a database connection. Factory, used to create different types of objects, such as different types of users or products. 38. How can design patterns help improve code testability? Answer. Design patterns can improve code testability by promoting loose coupling, modularity, and dependency injection. This makes it easier to isolate components and test them independently. 39. What are some best practices for using design patterns effectively? Answer. Some best practices for using design patterns include: some best practices for using design patterns effectively. Understand the underlying principles. Before applying a design pattern, make sure you understand its purpose and how it works. Use them judiciously. Don't overuse design patterns. Only apply them when they genuinely solve a problem or improve your code structure. Consider alternatives. Sometimes, simpler solutions might be more appropriate than complex design patterns. Adapt to your specific context. Tailor the design patterns to your project's requirements and constraints. Avoid premature optimization. Don't introduce design patterns prematurely to optimize performance. Focus on writing clear and maintainable code first. Test your code thoroughly. Ensure that your implementation of design patterns is correct and doesn't introduce unintended side effects. 40. How can design patterns help improve code maintainability? Answer. Design patterns can improve code maintainability by making it easier to understand, modify, and extend. They promote modularity, reusability, and consistency, which all contribute to better maintainability. 41. What is the difference between the adapter and decorator patterns? Answer. Both the adapter and decorator patterns add new functionality to existing objects, but they do so in different ways. Adapter pattern changes the interface of an existing object to make it compatible with a different interface. Decorator pattern adds new functionality to an object without changing its interface. 42. Can you explain the concept of dependency injection? Answer. Dependency injection is a technique where objects receive their dependencies from the outside rather than creating them themselves. This promotes loose coupling and makes code more testable. 43. How can design patterns help improve code performance? Answer. While design patterns don't inherently improve performance, they can help you write more efficient code by avoiding unnecessary complexity and promoting good practices. 44. What are some common anti-patterns related to design patterns? Answer. Some common anti-patterns include: overusing design patterns. Applying design patterns unnecessarily can make code more complex and harder to understand. Misusing design patterns. Using a design pattern incorrectly can introduce new problems or defeat its intended purpose. Premature optimization. Applying design patterns before they are truly needed can waste time and effort. Ignoring the context. Failing to consider the specific context of your application when choosing design patterns. Reinventing the wheel. Creating custom solutions instead of using existing design patterns can lead to duplication of effort. 45. How can design patterns help improve code scalability? Answer. Design patterns can help improve code scalability by promoting modularity, reusability, and loose coupling. This makes it easier to add new features or components to the system without affecting existing code. 46. What is the difference between the strategy and state patterns? Answer. Both the strategy and state patterns allow an object to change its behavior, but they do so in different ways. Strategy pattern encapsulates different algorithms and makes them interchangeable at runtime. State pattern allows an object to alter its behavior when its internal state changes. 47. Can you explain the concept of inversion of control? Answer. Inversion of control, IOC, is a programming principle where the flow of control is inverted. Instead of the object controlling its dependencies, the dependencies are injected into the object. This promotes loose coupling and makes code more flexible. 48. What are some common design patterns used in mobile app development? Answer. Some common design patterns used in mobile app development include MVC, separates the application into model, view, and controller components. MVVM, model view view model, a variation of MVC that introduces a view model layer to handle data binding and UI updates. Singleton, used to create a single instance of a class, such as a shared resource. Observer, used for implementing event-driven systems, such as notifying the UI when data changes. Factory, used to create different types of objects, such as different types of UI elements. 49. Explain the singleton pattern with an example. Answer. The singleton pattern ensures that a class has only one instance and provides a global point of access to it. This is useful when you need to control the creation and usage of a single object. Example. A logging system might use a singleton to ensure that there's only one instance of the logger, preventing multiple log files from being created. 50. What is the difference between a design pattern and an anti-pattern? Answer. A design pattern is a proven solution to a common design problem in software development. It's a reusable template that promotes good practices and avoids common pitfalls. An anti-pattern is a bad practice or solution that can lead to negative consequences. It's a recurring pattern that often results in poor code quality, maintainability, or performance. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Visit parthakachana.com for technology resources and stock analysis.